I was thinking about turning my shit off
How
for
do you turn your
this.
off?
I want to turn mine off so I don't have to look at myself.
Can you
But
like not look at yourself?
I forgot to look up how to do that.
Hide self view. Oh, can you still see me?
Yeah, hide
How do
self
I come
view.
back?
Where do you hide self
Oh,
view?
there's like 3 dots in the corner.
Oh, that's sick. Can you still see me?
Yeah, I can still see you.
Okay, cool, because I can't see myself.
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, so the video, yeah, it's just you. And I'm recording right now. It's the Nice Guys podcast.
No, but you should definitely be seeing yourself.
No, sorry.
You're the one recording, so you got to see
It's
yourself.
you. No, I don't want anybody to see me. No, it's
You're
just
just gonna.
you.
That's bullshit, Christian.
It's
I
just
turned mine back off.
it's literally just gonna be you. And you have no choice.
That's
On
not fair. That's not
on
fair.
on Zoom, I am God.
No,
I
that's not fair. Come
I
back. Come back.
I can mute you if I want. I can do anything I want.
Please come back.
This is my realm.
To the people now going to be watching on YouTube, shout out to our new YouTube channel, the
That
Nice
has no
Guys
videos.
Podcast.
Yeah, that has no
To the
video.
people, I apologize because Christian's hiding self view right now.
How about
On
this?
Zoom.
I'll put you in the waiting room, motherfucker.
You put me in the waiting room? That's crazy.
I can mute you. I love this, dude.
Dude, I cannot believe that you put me in the waiting room.
I didn't put
The
you in the
waiting
waiting
room.
room yet. All right, fine. We're back.
We're back.
So we got a pretty cool episode today, right?
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
You're just not gonna answer my question.
I mean, that wasn't really a question. Like, if you're gonna like say something, you're like, "Oh, we have a pretty good, cool episode today."
I
That's
posed.
not a question. That's
I
just
posed,
like you saying, "Huh?"
I posed the question for you. It was a bit rhetorical, I guess, but I said, right,
Yeah,
so that you would answer.
yeah. We have a great episode today.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great episode.
It's gonna be a great episode.
Yeah, in T-minus about 6 minutes, right? We're gonna welcome on Trevor Kiess, the former Mountaineer, 2018, 2019. But we figured we'd come on first before Trevor came on and get some drinks going. Noah, you're switching it up today and drinking some wine. What kind of wine is it? Where'd you get it? What is it?
It smells like a Malbec.
Cab Sauv.
It's a Malbec.
Is that the
It's a
top?
Tom Shula Malbec.
Is
It's
that
from my It's from my wine box that I got. The wine subscription. I got $100 vouchers coming out the wazoo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you sent me one of those, but I forgot to use it. But I feel like we should still plug that to the listeners. Cause
Hey, if you want $100 off your next wine order, hit me up and I'll give you get you a $100 voucher.
and
You know how it is.
but tell them how much it is for how many bottles. I mean, it's a sweet deal. I just haven't done it yet because I've
So the box that I got, it was like $150 for 6 wines or something. But all the wines market price are like way like less than half off. Not I wouldn't say half off, but I don't know. And then you get to pay to become one of their subscription people. But
no, it's 50.
you basically get like, well, it's $150 box and you get it for $50.
Yeah. So that's
Or I'm pretty sure you can make your own John too, and just use $100. I think I did it wrong.
I don't know if you can make your own with the voucher. You can do red, white, or mixed.
Oh, okay. So I see. So I didn't do it wrong. I just wish I could go back and see that page.
Which box did you
But
get?
I got the red because I'm not a big white guy.
I don't like. You're not a big white guy. You are.
I mean, I'm a white guy. I'm a white guy.
You're a really big white guy.
I'm learning my swirl. The worst part about red wine is the stains.
Yeah, facts. Fact. Yeah,
So
because
like,
it's so hard to clean
so
that.
like me, well, me being the most clumsy person on earth,
Mm-hmm.
like drinking red wine might be the worst possible thing for me to be drinking. It's not
It's
like beer. I spill beer on me all the time.
red beer is fine. Red wine stains are notoriously like the worst stains. They literally advertise that on like cleaning products. They say, "Oh, we can
Yeah,
get red wine stains out."
dude, it can stain like I was watching house shows and it can stain like your granite or marble like countertops
Oh yeah. If you don't clean that shit up,
too, which is crazy.
what do they put in that?
Yeah, like apparently like it's like notorious. Huh?
Notorious.
Where they put in the wine?
I like how you made that face. Notorious.
It's notorious.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What do they put in the wine to make it stain? Is that just the grapes, or grapes just like kind of?
Probably like well, you're talking to the wrong person
I know that was a stupid question.
because I'm just now
chemical-
learning my wine words. You
it's
got like you got cab sav
yeah,
and
the oxidization of the neurons in the alcohol when it meets the grapes.
Merlot,
Yeah, there you go. Just keep naming the wines.
Pinot
You
Noir.
you sound kind of like an expert when you say it the way you're saying it.
Thanks. Like
Pinot,
if I like exaggerate the voice.
right? Yeah, and
Another bad part about red wine, let me just say this. Not only stains your clothes and granite and marble countertops, but it also stains your mouth.
does it really?
The other night I drank like 2 bottles of red and I go in the bathroom before I go to bed and like I look like the Joker and like I'm like ugh, like full red mouth. I'm like this is ridiculous. I look like an idiot.
I thought you meant
So
like
like imagine you're at like some like imagine you're like super sophisticated and you're at some like wine drinking party and like you're drinking red wine. You look like an idiot.
you just can't get too
You know?
drunk,
You're right. You're right.
and that's why they don't. Yeah, I think that's why before you go to a sophisticated wine drinking party, you need a couple more boxes and you need some practice.
That's true. Or you could just get drunk off a beer before you go to one.
Yeah.
You get
Well,
drunk off a beer, come with a wine, everybody thinks you're sober. You're like, oh, time to whip it out. And then
I don't think if you showed up drunk, Noah, anybody would think you're sober.
you might be right.
Um, so yeah. All right. Cool plug. No
A cool
free
plug.
ads. No
No
free ads.
free ad. Hit our Instagram up for that.
Don't say the name. Don't say the name of the company. Just ask Noah for the link. We're not going to say the name of the company. No free ads.
No free ads.
But
But
it's,
come get your $100 from me.
yeah. I think if I make an account, I can send it to people too. But frankly, I don't really want to do
You
that.
have to be able you have to buy one first.
I don't really care enough. So I'm
Are you
going
gonna buy
to,
one?
yeah, dude, whatever. I'm gonna try to get Trevor in here.
Alright.
Don't
Well,
distract me.
I'm not gonna distract you, but it's
Speak.
hard.
Or I'll put you in the waiting room.
That's so messed up. I didn't even know you could do something like that.
I'm the host, baby. I'm the god of this podcast now.
Damn, that's crazy that you're the host.
Crazy how people switch up once you get fame and money like we have, right?
And PJs.
And PJs and DJs.
Hey, can't have the PJ without the DJ.
It used to be nothing but something to do. Now it's ruined our lives. This
Well,
podcast.
you can definitely catch that. Hey, we'll plug ourselves again. Shameless plug on ourselves. We have merch coming out. Merch. Buy your merch. Buy your merch. We
I
have
was
a
I was gonna tell
what?
you I was gonna tell you beforehand not to say anything about the merch because now we're gonna have to get on it. Can you see my screen by the way?
Yeah, I can see you.
No, can you see like is it me or my screen?
It's you.
All right, cool.
We're still working this Zoom thing out. We're
I'm
still
sending,
floating.
all right, I'm sending the call. I'm sending it to Trevor. Trevor is our guest. He's gonna
If you're watching,
I told him we're going live as soon as he comes on.
how's my twirl?
I can't see you.
How's my twirl?
I'm emailing Trevor. That doesn't look good at all. I don't like
Oh,
that.
well, I'm twirling.
I can see it now. That didn't look
That's
good at all.
crazy.
I mean, I don't know much,
Wait,
but
you ready?
you're being too brutish about it. You need to like slow it down. Be fancy. When you're drinking, you're too used to drinking beer and liquor when you're just like a brute. You got to be a fancy boy with it. You know what I'm saying?
It's really hard. I'm still learning the action of the wine drinker.
And you got to smell it too. You got to like, I think so.
It's like I compare wine to like whiskeys. You know how whiskey drinkers have like their own world. Oh, hey,
Yes, we
what
did.
brand?
Yes, we
What
did.
are you drinking?
It's that the Doers that you and Dowd were talking shit about.
Oh, the Doers.
I think
Is it Irish?
I think it's fine. No, it's Scotch.
Yeah, is it Irish
We don't drink Irish
Scotch?
whiskey in this household, mate. Is it Irish Scotch?
Irish Scotch.
Take a second and think about what you just said, mate.
Oi.
Um,
Yeah, we're still getting going. Have you? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even gonna go there.
what?
Yeah, I'm still learning the whiskey words too. It's like everybody has their own. People picking up notes and stuff. You ready? I get cranberries and
You sure about that?
what's another one? No, it's a joke. I'm not picking up shit. I don't
Uh,
really know how people do the tasting.
no, I guess
I
you
heard it was like, on a serious note, I heard it's like um
go on.
your brain trying to something that they're used to. You
Hmm.
feel me?
Not really, but sure. I mean,
People are like, "Oh, I smell dishwasher," so I think that's like an actual smell or something. But go on, Chief. Go
we
on.
go off, King. Whatever. Yeah. All right, we got Trevor. I'm about to admit, Trevor, our guest,
We're about
our
to
first
guest. We have
our,
guests today.
our first interview in a long time. I think our first actual interview in a long time.
Oh, it's working.
Please God,
What's good, guys?
Trevor.
The video's on. Hey, Trevor.
Thank goodness. All right,
Nice to meet you.
yeah, this is Trevor. This is
How's it
Noah.
going? Good.
Trevor, good to see you again. How's it going, buddy?
Good to see you. Nice to meet you, Noah.
Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
I'm very.
This is great.
I feel very outbearded right now.
I actually shaved mine off at the beginning of quarantine and then growing it back a little bit now. So
You gotta.
Dude, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, you. It looks sweet. I just have like I haven't really trimmed in quarantine either, and look at me.
so
What
I
do you
use
what do you
the Mountaineer brand. Actually, right on point there.
Okay.
There's a company in Shepherdstown, and so that's kind of I use their beard oil and beard shampoo and stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting used to using beard oil and shampoo. I'm not too regular about it, but I need to take tips
Yeah.
from people like you. That's like ridiculous. Like you can grow it that
It
fast.
looks like it's coming in good, man. You're doing.
Hey,
You're
I
doing
mean,
everything right. It looks like.
I stay around like a 2 level, like a 2
Yeah.
to 1. Yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah, one of the things
Nice.
Noah definitely wanted to ask right off the bat was the beard routine. He was trying to learn about
Hmm.
the beard routine and how you keep it. Since as the former mountaineer, you have probably some tips that the general public doesn't know about.
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough. I think probably the biggest secret that I have for people who want to grow a beard is take your time. A lot of times people want to grow it out as fast as they can, but my biggest piece of advice would be grow and trim a little bit, then grow, then trim a little bit. It fills in a lot better that way, in my opinion. And also, just like you hear girls talking about getting split ends and all that kind of stuff in their hair, that'll happen to your beard too. So that's what I did. I was saying, I was fortunate enough to be the backup mountaineer before I became the main mountaineer. And so I had a little bit of a jump start on the grow trim. And so then by the time I did become the main Mountaineer, I was the beard game was on point by that point. But I've shaved it off. I shaved it off the night after I was being the Mountaineer, and then I've kept it pretty trim since then. And then here for quarantine at the beginning of it, my brother and I were bored, so we shaved our beards again then as well. But now, as you can see, it's coming back in.
See, at least you probably look good without a beard too. I have a problem where I look like shit with and
Noah
without.
can't shave. No.
But
So I've been dating my girlfriend for 4 years roughly whenever I was done being the Mountaineer, and she had never seen me without a beard.
oh,
And that night when I passed the rifle, and it was the first time she ever saw me without a beard, and we had that on video. So that's something we'll always keep because that was a lot of fun to see her reaction there for the
that's
first
what I
time.
was about to ask you if you had a beard before like the whole process, like even before you were like the backup.
Yeah, so I started growing a beard like my second semester of college. So second semester freshman year, and then I didn't become the backup until junior year. So I had a very well trimmed beard, and then when I became the backup, I let it go a little bit more. And then when I became the main Mountaineer, I let it go, and it was all the way down, well past my chest there. So
we can say this is the most well-rounded beard in Mountaineer history of all time. It's modern barbershop beard the whole way through.
Yeah.
Hey,
appreciate that.
Well, it did look like that for a little bit, but Trevor, I was looking up pictures of at certain points you did have it like that unkept like backwoods look that I think is
Before being that long,
really appropriate for the Mountaineer. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah. During the the kind of the late fall, I didn't really let my barber touch it very much and really grew it down a lot in the late fall going into early basketball season. And then as the weather got warmer, we kept it a little bit cleaner and things. But I didn't want to have, real like ratty looking beard or anything like that. I wanted it to at least, it might not look trimmed and things like that. But, I didn't want it to stink or anything along those lines. You hear horror stories sometimes about former Mountaineers with their buckskins or their beards just not smelling that good. And I always wanted to make sure that wasn't me.
There's horror stories of this. I'm actually the first.
Hey.
I've never known those.
Yeah, so
So the buckskins are the worst when it comes to stinking. Yeah.
Oh, damn. Is it like a consistent cleaning process that they struggle with, or?
So I played football in high school, and so I treated my buckskins as I would my football pads. And so basically when I was done, if I was real hot and sweaty, I would air them out. As soon as I wouldn't just stuff them in a bag somewhere and leave them until I needed them again. And I would always air them out and get them kind of refreshed the best I could. Even though I never actually quote unquote clean them. You can't just like throw them in the washer or anything like that. And so I always aired mine out. But I've heard stories about former Mountaineers. Whenever you're the Mountaineer, everyone comes up to you and tells you their story about them and a former Mountaineer. And so I heard some stories where the buckskins got a little nasty. Now, there's little tricks. They say, if you put them in the freezer and freeze them, it kills the bacteria. It doesn't stink. I never had to resort to that, but I know some former Mountaineers have done that.
is that true? I mean, does that work?
I didn't try it, so
I
don't
never
know.
thought about that. So, Trevor, what you mentioned former Mountaineers, and that gets to one of my questions that I wanted to lead with. Do all the Mountaineers like hang out and know each other? Is there like a reunion type thing? There's got to be, right?
Yes. Yeah, there is. So basically, once every, I think it's 5 years, there's an official reunion. And so all the former Mountaineers come back. During my term, we had an informal reunion. So the gentleman who made the rifles for the Mountaineer and made them since the late 70s, he had actually passed away, unfortunately, during my term.
Mr. Watson.
So we actually all got back together and had participated in his funeral. Exactly, yeah. And participated in his funeral arrangements and things. And so like at the graveside, we all fired our rifles that he had built for us and things. And it was really touching ceremony and things. But we kind of had an informal
That's so cool.
reunion right in the middle of my term. So that was in December. So I'd started in April and ended the next April, and that was right in the middle, right in December.
That's incredible. Yeah, so I think that.
Do you have like a favorite Mountaineer of all time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So my favorite Mountaineer growing up was John Campbell. A lot of people remember John because he was the one that shot the bear back in the day.
Badass,
and so actually,
dude.
John came to my high school, and he came to my high school, and I met him and talked to him a little bit. And I always thought, he was a great Mountaineer, and he hit perfect timing for me age-wise. So I was like a junior, senior in high school, so right before I came to WVU. And so he's, was one of my, role models. And then somebody who I, knew a lot more, who became a great friend of mine and a mentor, was the Mountaineer immediately after John. His name was Michael Garcia. So Michael and I are really close as well. So I looked up to both of them a lot, and I got to see Michael a lot more than I got to see Jonathan, because by the time I became the Mountaineer, Jonathan now lives in Texas. He works for ExxonMobil down there. So
cool. Okay, so we're back and nothing happened. It's totally normal that I'm in a different room now on the video. And everything is fine. And Trevor was answering a question about some of the other mascots that he met during his time as Mountaineer, and which ones were cool, which ones weren't. Trevor, you have the floor.
Yeah, so probably one of my favorite events, and so I'm so bummed for the Mountaineer this year because it got canceled because of the coronavirus. But probably one of my top 2 or 3 favorite events all year was Big 12 Media Days in Dallas. And so, everyone kind of knows what it is for the most part. Basically, our head football coach, 3 or 4 of our football players go down. They have meetings with the media for a day and a half, 2 days, and they head back. Well, the mascots get to go down too. The mascots and 2 cheerleaders from each school. So we all get to meet each other, hang out, see who's under their masks and stuff. The Mountaineer's very unique in terms of what you see is what you get. We don't have some fake mask or a fake head that we put on, but all the other Big 12 mascots do. And so probably a couple of the coolest people I met during my time as Mountaineer, I met there at Big 12 Media Days. And so, I love Pistol Pete. So Pistol Pete from Oklahoma State, super cool. There was actually 2 guys. The way they do it is they alternate back and forth. So both of them came, super cool guys, really down to earth, just really nice dudes.
I thought at first.
No, you're good.
Talking about you said Pistol Pete, and I thought you were talking about the Texas Tech mascot.
Raider Red. I liked Raider Red too.
No, I don't like Raider Red. He looks like a damn Looney Tunes guy.
Yes, he does.
I forget his name, but I don't like that at all. They should totally fix that. But Pistol Pete is cool. He looks cool. But sorry, go on.
About Raider Red. Raider Red was actually my roommate during that whole process. And so he was a super cool guy too. Really funny, really comical guy. A lot of these people, Pistol Pete and Raider Red, the 2 people that were those, mascots, they weren't really like this. But a lot of the other ones were kind of quiet, and then they put their outfit on and they'd be really goofy or stuff like that, really have an alternate personality. But kind of Raider Red, the guy who was Raider Red, and the guy who was Pistol Pete, they were the same in or out of their costume and stuff. But what's really cool about Raider Red is that at Texas Tech, they have a mascot that's kind of like the Mountaineer. It's called the Masked Rider. But they don't go around and do as many events. They do like some football games, some official appearances and stuff. But like for Big 12 Media Days, they don't send the Masked Rider. They send Raider Red.
See, that guy's cool.
Yeah.
He looks like Zorro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this past year, it was a girl.
Okay.
And so the Raider Red, the guy who was Raider Red, and the Masked Rider girl dated. and nobody knew because nobody knew who Raider Red was because it was a secret. So we go through the entire year, you know, we follow each other on social media and stuff. I'm seeing all this stuff. We go to Texas Tech, right? We're on the field. He's like in his costume flirting with this Master Rider girl. I know they're dating, but no one else does, right? And so it goes on and on and on. And then when he was done being Raider Red, they revealed who was Raider Red. And he like said, like, I'm dating the Masked Rider. And so it was like a big deal in Lubbock. It was in the newspaper and stuff. There was a TV story on it. It was really neat. Just watching that all unfold before it actually came out publicly was hilarious to watch.
You got the insider. That's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. That's like really funny.
Yeah.
So who? I mean, but who? You know, who wasn't cool? Did anybody piss you off, like on the field, or like who wasn't very cool?
So the only one that kind of, and this one isn't even in the Big 12, and this one kind of got me fired up a little bit. Was the very first game of the year. I don't know if you guys remember. We played Tennessee. Okay, and so they have a dude. He wears a Halloween set of buckskins, okay, carries around a little piece of wood that they act like it's a rifle, okay, and they call him Davy Crockett. And
that's weak.
Yeah. And so if you guys also remember back to that point in time, that was when hand, foot, mouth disease hit our football team. You guys remember that? They canceled the spring game?
A little bit. Yeah. I think I remember that.
So hand, foot, mouth hit the football team. They canceled the spring game that year because of hand, foot, mouth. All this stuff was happening. And so, you know, fast forward to that fall, this Davy Crockett dude messaged me earlier and was like, hey, man, like, you know, I think it'd be really funny if we did a hand, foot, mouth disease skit. I'm like, no, I'm not doing a skit with you, dude. And so just that kind of got us started off on the wrong foot. And then as it progressed on, it just never really recovered. And so we were on SEC Nation together, which is like the college game day for SEC Network.
I think
before that game.
I think I'm looking at a picture of you on SEC game day right now. Hold on a second. I'm gonna try to share the screen real quick. I can't tell if this is the Mountaineer or this knockoff Tennessee guy.
No, that was me. Yeah, that's on that
set. Yeah, okay, that's you. And then
that right there is the Tennessee version, yeah.
Oh, they're totally ripping us off.
That's a joke.
Yep.
I didn't even notice that. I knew about the dog, but not the guy. That's such a ripoff.
So my girlfriend she's one of those people who she's super modest and things, but she tweeted out a picture and it was you versus a guy she told you not to worry about. And it was me and that dude.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I bet that blew up. I bet it blew up.
At the time.
That's really
I don't know. She might have actually deleted it because she was afraid the other guy would see it and get offended. But that's just how she is. She has a big heart. But, yeah.
That's funny. Hey, it's true, though. It's true, though.
Absolutely. Yeah, that Davy Crockett is – I've never seen that before. Like I said, I've seen the dog, but literally a Walmart version of the Mountaineer. That's
the grimy version of the Mountaineer.
Yeah.
And our buckskins are tailor fit. You know, they're pretty expensive and things like that. And then you walk on your first game and that Joker's on the other side. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Dude, that shit looks like he got it at Party City. Like that is like
literally it does. And guys, that picture that Christian showed didn't really show it, but on the back, you know how like a Halloween costume will like tie together. That thing ties together in the back.
That's ridiculous.
That would be so humiliating to be that guy and then to see you in that sweet, like, decked out Mountaineer, tailor fit with the real musket, handcrafted.
Right.
That would be humiliating.
I don't know. I don't know if you get in political drama, but like, let's just say the two worst set of fans that I've met: Miami, Tennessee. They're up there, and Tennessee, I hate them. I hate them. I got in like so many Reddit arguments over that game. That was like the most heated Reddit college football thread of all time too. I wish I would have known that there was beef between, not beef, but like,
A little animosity there, yeah.
yeah, I totally would have said something along the lines of like.
I was
But
about to say,
that
Noah, where would you have met Tennessee fans? And then I realized that college football season for you is just getting into lengthy arguments on our CFB.
Yeah, that's
So
about
that's
it.
where you met the Tennessee fan.
Yeah, that is where I met them.
So that SEC Nation appearance was super awkward too, because so the people on it are Laura Rutledge, she's the host.
Yeah.
Paul Finebaum is on it, and Tim Tebow's on it, and then another guy.
Paul
And so
Finebaum.
Paul, literally, so they don't come up, and I mean it's a super hot day. It's Charlotte, North Carolina, in the middle of late August, early September. It's like 85, 90 degrees, and it's only like 10 a.m. So we're up there, me and the David Crockett dude. We're up on the stage waiting for the show to get started. They come up, 15 seconds before they go live. So Tim Tebow comes up, shakes my hand, super cool. I love Tebow, he's like, that was great. And then they go live. Feinbaum doesn't say anything to me beforehand.
Predictable.
The second they go live, they're doing their little preview there at the beginning of the show. He comes over and tries to grab the rifle. I'm like, no, sir.
No.
You're not grabbing this thing on national TV.
He would. That's so predictable of Paul Finebaum. He just seems like a weasel.
Entitled. He's an entitled.
Yeah.
I never really I didn't, not being in the SEC and stuff, I knew who he was, but I never really interacted with him. But he was still totally different in person than what I thought he would be.
Really?
He's like a shitty Skip Bayless for the SEC college football.
Yeah, I mean he's like a lot, I guess, and obviously you can tell he's old on TV, but he just seemed like older, kind of more fragile in person. I guess I don't know, it's hard to explain, but yeah, he definitely is a lot different, I thought, in person than what he is on TV.
I listened to a book on tape where this guy followed around the 1999 Alabama football team or something like that. But he basically, this is before Finebaum got big and got on ESPN, and he talks about how he basically made a career out of he was in a Birmingham radio station, and he made a career out of just pissing off Alabama fans. And like that's just the kind of guy that I guess he is.
Well, did you guys remember the Tumor's Corner, Poison in the Trees at Auburn?
Oh yeah.
The dude that called in was like, "Hey, I just poisoned the trees, roll tide, all that stuff." That was on Finebaum's show.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Of course, he called in the Finebaum show. Shitty person. And I know he hates Alabama, but of course. He just like brings that energy.
Yeah. Noah, did you wanna ask some of your questions or
I'll ask.
Am I interrupting you pouring your wine?
Well, I'll ask it and pour it. So one of my favorite things the Mountaineer does is push-ups. Did you have to take like a push-up class? And like, what's your like maximum push-ups that you could do?
Yeah, so it fell off quick after I was done being a Mountaineer, I'll tell you that much. But so this goes back to like I was named the Mountaineer, or I was officially started the Mountaineer in April. This is like probably halfway through June or July, and I'm at a Little League football opening ceremony in Morgantown. And this big dude comes up to me, and I knew who he was. But at the time, like it was out of place, and so I really didn't, 100% recognize him. And he comes up to me and he kind of like pushes me, and he goes, "When do you want to start working out with us?" And so I kind of turned around, and it took me a second to place him. It was Mike Joseph, the strength coach for the football team. Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Coach, like, yesterday, like I'd love to come work out." And he's like, "Okay, this is my cell phone number. Text me." He goes, "We'll get you evaluated, and then we'll get you started on the regimen." And so a couple weeks later, I went in, got started. I had a strength coach kind of assigned to me, and we went through an entire workout from mid-July to the end of football season, and it was a grind. So one of the workouts that he had me do was we went outside on the football field, and so on you would start at the 0 yard line and do 20 push-ups, and then you would go to the 5 yard line and do 19, and the 10 yard line and do 18, and go all the way down the field until you got to the goal line, and that was one. And that was absolutely brutal.
No,
but
thank you. That would literally kill me.
It was tough, but
that's fucking crazy.
Being in the weight room and stuff gave me access to the football team and things and people and coaches that I never would have had otherwise. So I'm super grateful for that opportunity. He didn't have to take me in under his wing, but he totally did. It was super nice. And, I'm not a D1 athlete. I played high school sports, but like there's a reason I didn't make it to D1 athletics, and they understood that and they worked with me and made workouts that were challenging, but, succeedable for me. And so actually the strength coach I got assigned, who I got pretty close with over the course of the year, he went to Houston to be the strength coach for Dana when Mike Joseph stayed here. So he's a super great guy, really nice family, and I got to, kind of get to know him and different things. And so that was great. But yeah, so the push-ups were tough. To answer your question on how many I did. So with the Oklahoma game, I think that final score was like 66-63 or something like that, right at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And somebody counted them up at home, and I did over 300 push-ups that night. So it's tough to do that many push-ups. It's even more tough whenever you do that many push-ups and lose, right?
But the question is, are you too like yiked up to like not even like think about like push-ups? Like, are you in like a different state?
So for the first 20 or 25, yeah, and then it gets real, regardless, no matter how pumped up you are, because the way that we do them is it's like a stair step. So you do 7 the first time for the first touchdown. You don't do 7 more. You do 14, and then you do 21, and then you do 28, and so you kind of like exponentially getting more and more each time, and so by the time you get to 63, like dude, that's cooking because you've worked your way up to that point. And then, right there at the end of the game, you're trying to hammer out 63. And so that can be tough. And there's a few pictures of me early in the season where I just have this like totally in the zone, like don't bother me, like really buggy eyes, like expression on my face. Where I'm just like, I got to grind these out. When it's 80 degrees and you're in those buckskins and they don't breathe and it's hot, and it can be tough. But, I'm a little bit jealous of last year's Mountaineer Timmy, because so my year we had Will Greer, David Sills, all those guys, and then last year, rebuilding under Coach Brown, we really didn't have a super powerful offense, so he got off easy in terms of the push-ups.
Oh, I was muted, but yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that's one thing when Noah sent me the questions about the push-ups is like, you were there for Will Greer, and if you had been here this year, there wasn't that much offense. At least you weren't there for Gino and Tavon, though.
Think about actually that was my buddy John Kimball. Yep, John
was that John Kimball?
John Kimball.
And they scored. I mean, I was in a sophomore in high school when they scored 70 points against Baylor in their first Big 12 game ever.
Hey, Section 203, right?
203, man. Did you watch that video?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was.
I was trying to do my research, man.
Yeah, impressive.
Dude, that's what's pretty cool about John Kimball, too, though. He's like, he's pretty sick because, like, killing a bear and posting it. But he's also sick because he was doing push-ups with the most, like, high-powered offense in, like, all of college football. And that's great.
Yeah,
hey, you were pretty close. Hey, 7 more points, you almost touched his 70 bar.
I wasn't jealous for him, that day or whatever. He had to whip out this 70. But, you look at our terms in our football seasons, and they were actually paralleled with each other pretty well. Yeah, started off, we both had great starts. They went 5-0. I think we were 6-0, maybe 7-0 before we went to Iowa State.
We were 6-0, and then we lost to
Iowa State. Yeah, and so I don't think they didn't win many games after that. John's year with Gino and them, the first year in the Big 12, the year after the Orange Bowl. But we still had mild success. If we'd beat Oklahoma State, we would have been in the Big 12 championship game, and things. But and then you go to our bowl game, and so his bowl game, they played Syracuse in New York in Yankee Stadium for the Pinstripe Bowl. In my bowl game, we played Syracuse in Orlando for the
that's a crazy
Champ Sports Bowl.
I didn't make that. I didn't make that connection, but I'm glad you brought up Syracuse because I was thinking about doing like a best mascots, worst mascots thing, but I never got around to it. I have a fucking bone to pick with the Syracuse orange dot thing, whatever.
It's an orange.
That's one of the worst mascots of all time. I hate that guy.
I don't think
we played him in the bowl game, and I never met him. I didn't meet him. So we went to Disneyland and did a parade through Disneyland, but the mascots weren't allowed to wear our outfits because Disney had some rule where nobody was allowed to be in costume or stuff except for their cast members. And so I was just in, a hoodie and shorts going through Disney. And so I was actually looking forward, knowing that Syracuse would be there too, to meet, their mascot because, the orange is pretty iconic.
The orange. And what is he? I hate that.
And so he didn't show up. He had another appearance or whatever, he or she, I don't know who it was. And they didn't show up. So I never got to meet them and see who was behind that outfit. But
it's funny because Disney has a monopoly on people wearing costumes to their park, but they don't really mind it whenever people are buying their costumes at their park.
Right.
Damn, screw that. Screw Disney.
It was still a cool experience, though. To see behind the scenes at Disney World, that was neat because a lot of people don't see that. A lot of the stuff is so forward facing, and unless you go somewhere you're not supposed to go, you don't see, what really makes it tick and makes it run. And so we came in the back way and we got to see behind the scenes now.
So. That is really sick. That's sick.
Yep.
It's good to know that the Syracuse mascot is exactly what I expect him to be, a coward.
Coward. Hey, when he comes face to face with a Mountaineer, he runs. He runs.
He doesn't.
No, he rolls. He rolls.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's the mascot. They're the Syracuse orange, which is the color, not an orange, not the fruit, but that's what they've made out this little thing to be.
I think is his name Opie, or is that the Orange Bowl mascot? Maybe they're both named Opie.
I mean, they're both cowards. Who was it? Darwin Cook that took out.
Darwin Cook took him out during the Orange Bowl, yeah.
And that's what he gets. That's what he gets. They're probably related somehow, and it runs in the family. They're both.
Hey, speaking about a lot of push-ups, Mountaineer did a lot of push-ups that night too. 70 to 33. So they hung a 70 spot there, twice in just a few months apart. Into one season, beginning of the next.
That's a fit man.
The dude who did it then, he was a lot bigger than John. So the Mountaineer that year, his name was Brock Burwell, and he was a lot bigger.
Thick. He is the one. He's the thicker guy who had He had a big wide beard, right? That's a curly beard or something like that.
Yep. So, Brock. I've got to know Brock very briefly. We have a couple mutual friends. I haven't really talked to Brock a lot, but he has a really great story. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but at the beginning of my term, or right before I was named the Mountaineer, they cut it from being able to do a 2-year term to only allowed to do a 1-year term. And so that happened right when I started, right before I started. But back when Brock was a Mountaineer, he'd be the Mountaineer for 2 years. And so he was actually the alternate Mountaineer for 2 years. Then was the main Mountaineer for 2 years. So he was technically, in a version of the Mountaineer for 4 years.
That's ridiculous.
Which is unheard of. Yeah, that's almost the most, I think that probably is the most if you count alternate time as well. There was a guy back in the 90s who did it for 3 years, like a 3-year term as the main Mountaineer. But, other than that, that's unheard of. So Brock he was in it, he was determined. And
he's a legend.
It happen. Yep.
That's crazy. I do have a question. Have you hunted with your rifle?
So going back to what we talked about at the beginning in terms of Mr. Watering passing away, so there is kind of an unspoken tradition that the Mountaineer does hunt with the rifle. But traditionally, what happens is the rifle is turned over every 2 to 3 years, and a new rifle's made. And the Mountaineer at that time, gets a new rifle and spins it. When I was a Mountaineer, my rifle was like 6 or 7 years old, and so to be 100% honest, I was scared really to put a lot of ammunition in it, just knowing it was that old. Because if you look at what those rifles are actually made to do, if you were to buy a rifle like that today, you would, shoot it a couple times for practice. If you were to take it hunting, you shoot it a couple times for practice. You take it out, you might shoot it once, twice, 3 times, lucky if in a good season, and then you would clean it and you put it up. But we're firing that rifle 25, 30 times a day, on a football game day. And so the use of those rifles are, astronomical compared to what they're originally designed for. So if you had a one like that made for you, it would last the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. But the way the Mountaineers use it, and you fired it so often that, they only have, max a 6 or 7 year lifespan. And so mine was at the end. And, I was out visiting Mr. Watering a lot, getting it fixed, getting this fixed, getting that fixed. And I was all at deer season, I was just a little bit skittish, a little bit afraid to put anything in it. But the good news is I do have one, a replica. And so I'll probably end up taking that hunting, one day. But at the time, I was just a little bit skittish because I'd had a few issues with it, and I didn't want to,
understand.
I didn't want to, have any major issues.
But, like it blow up and you're like holding it and it just like blows the hell up. Like
that would be bad.
There goes your beard that you worked hard for.
Right, the middle of your term, right? You show up and you have half your face missing. Not a good look.
Were you ever skittish about firing it, like at a game or anything?
No, not really, not at all. It's so funny because in a slow-mo video, and there's only 2 or 3 pictures that were taken of me, but you can actually see the fire coming out of the end of it, which is really unique and really cool. But I mean, it is a 100% real rifle, but we're trained really well on it, and we go through. You have to have your hunter safety course, and then in addition to that, we do a specific black powder training. So we're trained, and it's a big responsibility for whoever's a Mountaineer, and so that's something I never took lightly. I always tried to have the most pristine, safety skills and things like that, and so I knew what a privilege it was. I never wanted to abuse or do anything to affect
that. This might be stealing Noah's question. Noah, can I ask about the riskiest place that you ever fired the rifle?
Yeah.
Okay,
what's the riskiest place you ever fired the rifle?
Some guys have these great stories about their apartment complex at 3 o'clock in the morning and all this stuff. I never did that. Probably the riskiest place. I'm trying to think. I can't really think of anything. What I would do a lot of before the games and stuff, and because you always want to practice fire it because you never know when something might go wrong with it, or if something's not right, you want to know in advance. So I'd always go to the behind the Coliseum for any sporting event and beforehand fire it a couple times. And so it can be funny. It can scare some people when they hear the rifle go off in the parking lot, 3 hours before a basketball game or whatever. But like I said, kind of going back to that gun safety thing and what a privilege it is. I never wanted to, do anything that would bring any shame or any bad light on the position.
Well, add on to that question. Like, what about going to a place that's not so accepting of guns and like, just like in general? I know there's a couple places that don't really.
So what we do is we have 2 rifles. We have a fully functional rifle, and then we have a rifle that used to be fully functional, but it's not anymore. And so if we were ever to go anywhere like a visiting stadium or anywhere like that, we would take the rifle that doesn't fire. Just so, if they say, oh, sorry, you're not allowed to bring that in. It's a rifle. It's a, firearm. It's like, well, it was, but it doesn't work anymore. We joke around, call it the fake one. just because it doesn't fire. But in terms of in the state of West Virginia, everyone was super cool, super understanding. I mean, I had the fake rifle on the floor of the legislature, House of Delegates and things. So, and within the state, I've never had any issues. Sometimes, when we would go like the baseball, basketball tournament and things along those lines, I would have a conversation with the security officer who was, checking me in and saying, this is part of our outfit. It doesn't fire X, Y, Z. But we usually would only leave the real one. Back in the state, we don't usually travel with the real one.
Did you go to Madison Square Garden? Did we play Florida?
No, unfortunately.
Am I wrong
So
about
those we might have played them, but early in the season we don't travel with basketball. So we only travel with basketball for the postseason tournaments.
Okay, because I was trying to think of places that would be maybe have an aversion to the rifle. I know New York City has very strict laws about firearms and things like that. That would be an interesting.
I actually had the rifle in New York City though, for a separate appearance. Yeah, so this was the week of our game against Tennessee, and we got a call on like Monday or Tuesday, and like, hey, how would you guys like to be on Fox and Friends on like Thursday or Friday morning in New York City at 7 a.m.? And we're like, let's go. So we loaded up, and me and two cheerleaders went, and there are a lot of different mascots from different places there. The Pitt Panther was there. The Rutgers mascot was there. I don't know. There was a handful of other mascots and cheerleaders from across the country, and that was on College Colors Day. And so, they were promoting that and things, and so that was really cool. But yeah, I was literally in Times Square with the rifle. Nobody said anything, so it's what it is.
Yeah, or like you said, walking into the state capitol with the rifle. It's like you're the only person other than law enforcement that gets to do that.
That's exactly right. It's a great privilege, and so I always try to be really protective of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good to hear. I guess we've only got 8 minutes.
I definitely have a couple more questions. Okay. Can I ask questions?
Yeah, go ahead. We only have 8 minutes. I thought I had unlimited time on the Zoom calls, but I guess I was wrong. So
hey, if we have to start another one, I'm game.
I definitely have one more confirmed after this. But what's like the best football and basketball games that you attended before you were the Mountaineer?
Oh, before I was a Mountaineer.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do a throwback for football. So going back to 2011 when we played LSU in college game day game. So I was 16 years old, drove up from home, went to the game, went to college game day, went to the game. We scored there, and if you remember, LSU took a kickback after we had scored. And we cut it within like 3 or something. LSU brought the kickback. And so right before that kickoff was the loudest I've ever heard the stadium. It was insane. They had gold rally towels out, and it was, honest to God, the loudest I'd ever heard the stadium. So even though we lost that game, that was a great one. My first game at Mountaineer Field is another good one. It was against UConn in the 07 season. We won like 62 to something.
I went to that. That was the one they honored the guy that died.
No, this was a couple years before that.
Oh, dang.
But I remember that one too.
2009 one, I think, then.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So this was the year that it was like a de facto Big East title game. It was the week before we played Pitt in 07.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I remember that game very well, that it was like right after we won that game, it was like, what can happen now? We won the Big East. We're going to the national title. And then I was at the Pitt game, and
me too. Cried all the way home.
Yeah. Oh well.
That was in 6th grade. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite basketball game?
Basketball, probably. So whenever I was in the first couple years of undergrad, we had beat Kansas once at home, but that was the only time we had beat them. And then during the course of my undergraduate years, we beat them every year at home. And so all of those games, rushing the court and stuff, were a lot of fun. I think we beat Baylor. They were ranked number 1 during that same time frame. Rushed the court then too. So all of those games really stick out. And some of my favorite basketball games as students.
Me and Noah were at most of those. Yeah, that Kansas. I think didn't we do that on an earlier episode, Noah? Our favorite basketball memory,
Yep.
and I think those Kansas
Walking to
games
the game.
as a student are just amazing.
Yeah. So that night that the snowstorm hit, they had to, it was really bad out. I was sitting in traffic trying to get from downtown. I lived at, I think it was I a freshman or sophomore. I think I was living downtown. I was trying to get up the hill. I saw like John Holton and a couple of the players like hop out of their cars and run up to the Coliseum because I thought they were going to be late. I saw the police escort go and get Kansas from the waterfront and bring them back up. So that was a crazy night. And the Kansas was late getting there, and they didn't have really a chance to warm up. And
Carlton, the police officer, had to sing the national anthem.
Sing the national anthem. Yeah, that was that night, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great – because I remember one of the Kansas basketball players' moms was, like, talking shit and saying how, like, the town wasn't, like, easily accessible or something like that. I don't really totally remember it, but she was like, this snowstorm is crazy and, like, these roads suck, and was like, I don't know, it was crazy. That's one of my favorite
was
games.
locked down that night, yeah. It was locked down.
The Texas game later that season, or the next week after that was the one where the snow piled up. Was that – wait, I don't know if which one was the ice and which one was the snow. I don't remember it because we walked to both of them. One was, like, crazy ice. And
I think they go hand in hand, Noah.
No, but one was, like, really bad. One was, like, the snow that was, like, 2 feet or something like that.
I think the Kansas night, it was, like, probably a little bit icier. There wasn't a ton of snow. It just all came in the afternoon.
It was just ice. And then the Texas one, the week and a half after that, was the snow. And that's whenever we had, like, a week off of school or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I had a week off of school. I'm not really sure.
I think they shut WVU down for like Wednesday or Thursday and Friday or something like that. But yeah.
I was probably not going to class the days before that. Yeah. Willingly.
Yeah, you've changed a lot since freshman year, Noah.
Yeah, I have. Fortunately. Still wear the best though.
Well, I think we will probably wrap up
One more question.
Okay. Yeah. 2 minutes 53.
You have a great woo, like woo.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, good memory.
A great woo.
I would have to admit, some Mountaineers in the past have horrible woos. Like, they have really bad woos. Like, so I know my dad's a good wooer. Where did you learn to woo?
I don't really know. I guess a God-given ability. But the reason why I did it is because I hate the awkwardness after a Let's Go Mountaineers cheer. I hate that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so at football and basketball, you can't really tell because there's so many people. But, like, at a soccer game or a baseball game, like, it's super awkward after the Mountaineer doesn't get a let's go again, right? And so I'd always do that woo, just let everybody know, like, okay, we're done now. You can settle back down, like.
It's like a soft – it's like really, like, good pitch all the way up. Like, you start low, and then you just, like, whip out at the O's. You just go higher pitch, and it's just, like, perfectly on point.
So I appreciate that.
So to take us out, can we get a Let's Go Mountaineers and then a woo?
I haven't wooed in a long time.
Let's go for it. Give us a let's go, and we'll give you the Mountaineers.
All right. Let's go.
Mountaineers.
Mountaineers.
There
we go.
All right. Thank you so much, Trevor.
Thank you for coming on. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Welcome, guys. Anytime.
This has been
fantastic. If you want to do round 2, I have more stories for you. So.
Absolutely.
Dude, I would love that.
Absolutely. Hopefully, if we get college football back, we'll have you back on, and we can
great.
Talk some sports. Talk some sports.
All right.
Yep, for sure.
This has been an episode of the Nice Guys Podcast. Have a nice bye-bye.
Bye.